As much as I like the convenience of food delivery apps, as someone who has clinical social anxiety and autism at the same time, those apps are kind of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's great to not have to interact with people in order to get your groceries or get restaurant food on the rare occasions that I can actually stomach that stuff. But on the other hand, it is kind of worsening an existing problem in the sense that it is making you complacent. So my existing problem is social anxiety, and those apps are making me complacent because I can get literally anything that I want by using those apps. Like, if there's not something that I can't get on Instacart or DoorDash, I can just get it from Amazon, and it'll be here in like a day or 2 days. And then my whole pantry is filled because I've gotten all my food delivered. And so there's no necessity to go out and buy food when literally everything is right there. It's weird. It's weird, man. What do people even make these videos about? Like, there was a time when I felt like I could speak endlessly about being in NEET, about being mentally ill, about being lazy and having social anxiety. And then there comes a point when you've told those stories so many times, when you have looked at them from so many different angles, when you have gone on and on in exhaustive detail about these subjects, and you come to feel like you've said just about everything there is to say about them, and moreover, you can't find the motivation within yourself to find new things to say about them. Like, there are theoretically new and creative ways in which I could speak about those subjects, but I don't utilize those because I don't expend the mental energy that it would take to figure out what those avenues are. I don't do that. I don't do that because I find it boring. And I think that's a big reason why my favorite no thank you videos are oftentimes the ones that aren't being made today. You know, just recently he put out a Denpa vlog that was in the vein of the old videos. That was really cool. I felt nostalgic watching it, and I went back and watched a lot of my favorite content from him. But most of the time, nowadays, he makes these relatively high-effort, edited content that is in high definition, that is meant to garner more of a general audience. And that's a type of content that I can't relate to or identify with, because over here, I'm doing just the opposite. I'm still producing these low-fidelity autobiographical videos, the kind that he's abandoned and that I feel nostalgic for. But then it begs the question, for exactly how long can I do that? Because I have gone back to the mill on these subjects so many times that at some point it does just get boring, you know? And then it's like, well, okay, I'm only going to speak about what I am interested in speaking about, what I feel the need to speak about at a specific time. And now that's what I'm doing, you know? If I talk about the NEET stuff, it's because I had something to say about it, or I had something I needed to say about it at the time. If I talk about the other things that I'm known for, the things that people really want to hear me talk about, we all know what the subjects are. There's a couple subjects that whenever I go back to, people are really clamoring to hear my thoughts on them. Or they're at the very least more likely to watch the video if I talk about those things. So I know what those things are, but I'm not going to talk about them just because a bunch of people want to hear me talk about them. I'm going to talk about them if I have something to say and if I think it makes a good video. And unfortunately for a lot of those people, it is hard for me to muster the energy or the creativity to speak at length or in depth about the subjects that they came to me to hear about. But I think there are so many videos about those subjects that they could easily fill all their time by watching them. I think people just don't go back through the archive to find that stuff. Or because the videos are inconveniently titled, they don't know which videos those videos are. So what I'm considering doing is creating sets of playlists for specific subjects to entice people to go back to some of the old videos so they don't ask me to speak at length about stuff I've already spoken at length about, or they don't ask me questions in regards to stuff that I've already covered. I think that would be good. I just have to actually go back through the videos myself to find out what's where. But it's a Sunday afternoon today, and I've been spending it doing the same stuff that I usually do. I've been playing video games, I've watched a little anime, browsing YouTube. I spent it the way that I normally spend my days. I got overstimulated after eating, and it was hard to get the food down, but I did it. I don't know, man. I don't know. This sort of lifestyle, while very enjoyable, it doesn't exactly inspire you to have new things to talk about. I tend to feel like I'm at my best when I'm constantly moving around. So when I'm going from place to place, when I'm meeting new people and doing new things, when I'm traveling, I feel like it gets my brain going. It gets the creative juices flowing, and I feel like I'm at my best when I'm in that constant state of movement. And I think it's partially because whenever I'm in a new place, I feel like a renewed person. Like I can be any kind of person I want to be, especially the further the place is from where I currently am, wherever that place may be. The place that I reside in also often changes. But there's a marked difference that I notice in my mental state when I'm going from place to place and when I'm having adventures. And while that's good, I think it's good to live a nomadic lifestyle and to be going everywhere, I think it's also something that should be analyzed critically. Why exactly do I feel this way? Why do I want this? And I would be lying if I didn't say that at times there isn't a component of fear to it, like a desire to run away from my current problems. Instead of solving my current problems, I'll just run away to a new place. And then, of course, the problems are still there. You just aren't actively addressing them. It's escapism. I think that is something that is worthwhile to analyze and to change. And that's part of why I'm stationary right now, is because I want to change the things that make me feel like that. What about myself am I running away from? What is causing me to want to run away? And I think it's partially my lack of education. I need to get my GED. I need to do all this stuff. I need to start taking the steps to go to college and become a better person. And until I change those things about myself, there's always going to be this component to my travels where I'm running away. A component to my travels is that I'm running away. That's going to be a factor. And I don't want that to be a factor. Because traveling is great. It's really fun. It's amazing to live in new places and meet new people and learn new things in the process and do new things, stimulating activities that get the creative juices flowing and spark joy. That's all great and everything, but as long as this negative component that I'm describing exists, it's going to stifle that other stuff. Because you're away from home for long enough that eventually you start to go like, okay, I still have these same problems, and they're still problematic. I ought to go about changing them somehow. And then it's really valuable to be stationary. You got to go back to where you reside and start actively addressing that stuff. And until you do that, running away is not going to do you any good. It's just going to prolong your own suffering. And in this case, my suffering is due to my lack of academic achievement. If I can fix those things, I will increase my chances of living a happy and fulfilled life, namely by finding a career that I actually want, a thing that will be fulfilling to me. I could be a wood chopper in the forest and make like $100,000 a year doing that. And I don't need any special degree to do that. But would I want to do that? No. I don't think I would want to do that. So, this is an extremely important thing to address. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is by staying stationary for a while. And so that's a big reason why I haven't been traveling and doing things. Even just traveling on the cheap, like, freight hopping and then transferring to a bus from there and like sleeping on people's couches or sleeping outside. I'm not doing that stuff right now. And I'm not doing that stuff right now because it would be detrimental. Like, I need this time. I need this time to address the noticeable disparities that I have with other people in terms of academic achievement. I need to whip myself into shape in that regard. And then I can reward myself by traveling and going on adventures and doing things.